Everyone wants a good accountant, but what if that isn't the case? How do you even know if your accountant is good? When is the right time to say goodbye? Today I'm going to be telling you about the 4 warning signs that might indicate that your accountant isn't right for you. Let's start with, do they even get back to you? This is the #1 complaint that I hear from new clients that come to us. They say, my previous accountant did not reply to me. I couldn't get a hold of them. They wouldn't answer my questions. This just seems bizarre to me because I don't understand this concept. Why would you take on clients and then not respond to them? Now, your accountant probably isn't going to answer every single time you call them. That's probably not the reality. But they should have a method of how they get back to you. Have they communicated clearly to you what are the expected turnaround times? What are the best ways to get in touch with them? How should you be communicating your queries? Who do they get communicated to? These should be pretty basic things that should be outlined to you when you first approach someone. Ask them, if I want to book a meeting with you, can I? How do I go about that? If I send you an email, how long should I have to wait before I get a response? For instance, in our firm, we operate on a basis where we get back to most people within a 24-hour period. Now, we might not solve their queries, but at least we've acknowledged them and given them a further time frame. And these are the questions you want to ask in the early days to ensure you don't get trapped in that common position where you've got an accountant, but it doesn't really feel like they're working for you. Now, when you have a meeting, do you leave more confused than you started? If that is the case, that is a major red flag. Now, I've unfortunately sat in on meetings where people have explained things to clients, and I've sat there saying, that client is not going to understand a word you've just said because you've given them the jargon response. And by the jargon response, I mean you've referred to terms that you understand, but they don't understand. And the #1 role of any professional service is to explain things to the client, to the customer, in a way that makes sense to them. I'm not going to have the same technical level of expertise in what their business area is, but therefore they're probably not going to have the same technical level of expertise in accounting and tax. So therefore, my job is to bridge that gap and explain things in a way that makes sense to them at their level of what their knowledge is. The thing to remember is that every single client that we deal with would have a different level of knowledge, so you have to be able to adjust that. So if your accountant is explaining something to you and you're leaving that meeting going, I don't really understand what they told me, I do trust them, but I don't understand, it means they haven't done their job properly. The onus is not on the person receiving the information, it's on the person giving the information. The third one is, do they actually work with people like you? And what I mean by this is if you looked at their clientele base and you've seen the other clients who are coming in and out of that door or sending emails in today's day and age, do they look like you? Are they in the same industry of you? Do they actually understand what you do? There are some accountants out there that do only work with one industry, and I'm sure they're very good at that. But it doesn't mean the accountant that works with everyone isn't good at it. But you want to understand, have they worked with people like me before? Now, you're not only wanting to understand about industry, but also size. If you're a business that does $1 million of turnover, have they dealt with clients that are of that size? This is because the size of your business might also dictate what needs to be done as a part of your business. Maybe you've got a stage where you've got employees. Does this accountant typically deal with businesses that have employees? Are they familiar with the rules that are in your particular state? You need to make sure that your accountant has dealt with someone that's been in your situation or a very similar situation before, because that means they're going to have experience in this area and they're likely to give you advice that is customized to your situation. Now, a lot of these things rely on you having some basic understanding of how tax works and how business works. And I can help give you that by subscribing to my free email newsletter. The link is in the description to this video. I drop tax tips and business tips every single week that aim to give you a better repertoire of knowledge so that you can help to understand, are you actually getting good service from your accountant? Now let's get back into the video and talk about the fourth one, and that is, are they actually trying to save you tax? Obviously, most people go to an accountant because they want them to save them tax, but is that actually happening? Now that might seem like such an obvious thing, and it might seem like, why wouldn't an accountant do that? But I'll put it right out there, some accountants are lazy and they want to do things the easiest way for them, and they're not going to work hard for their client. If this is how you feel about your accountant, this is a giant red flag, and it should be the indication that you need to seek someone else. You want to make sure they are working for your goals. Are they asking you questions about what are your long-term goals, or are they just focused on giving you a bit of paper that says they save you some tax, but not explaining the downsides in the long term? If they are giving you strategies that save you $1 today but cost you $2 tomorrow, that is of concern to you. So anytime your accountant does save you tax, you want to query, is there any long-term ramifications for me that is going to make me owe more tax in the future? It might still be the best approach, but you want to understand the big picture. Is this actually helping me work towards my financial goals, work towards my business goals? Are they giving you suggestions, or are you having to feed the questions to them? You want to make sure that when they're looking at your year-end accounts, are they looking at your overall picture? Are they asking you questions such as, what is your goals for next year? Hey, your revenue seems to have declined. Why is that the case? Are they really wanting to understand your business at a more detailed level? Or are they just doing the surface, ticking boxes off, lodging your tax return, pushing you out the door and moving on to the next person? Now, while I want to use this channel to help you better understand and optimize your taxes, I also want you to be more successful financially. And in this upcoming video, I talk about some of my key strategies that you can put in place to make 2025 your best year yet when it comes to your finances.